In this video, I'll talk about how do I deal with disappointments. Now, this topic is actually very close to my heart because this is something that I've learned the hard way in the last 10 years or so. I've learned some right lessons after losing out on some very good relationships. I'll also share a story where a friend really disappointed me. Like it was really bad, and I'll tell you how I dealt with it. This is one of the most common things. When very close people disappoint you, it hurts really bad. That disappointment could be anything. Like somebody ignored you, they bitched about you behind your back, they didn't help you when you needed them, they prioritized someone else over you, they didn't show up at a party you threw, they didn't appreciate you, they didn't pay you back, etc. etc. And depending on how close the relationship is, it can really make you angry or sometimes sad inside and also confused, like what to do here. Like you thought this person was really close to me and now they've done this or didn't do that. Now what do I do? Do I just cut off or should I continue? Like how can I continue? What about my self-respect? How can I take this bad behavior? So the confusion is real, but I'm here to help. I'm gonna share some really deep principles today which really transformed my social life. And these principles are neutral in nature. They help me and they can help you too. So if you are a person who expects a lot from people and gets disappointed very frequently or deeply and ends up cutting people off, this video is for you. So whenever people disappoint you, you can as a first step always start with communicating with them, right? Tell them how you felt, tell them what you did not like, tell them what you actually expect from them. But here in this video, we're gonna assume that communication is not working or is gonna fail. We're gonna assume that the other person is not gonna agree to their mistakes. We're gonna assume that they are not interested in changing. So basically we are assuming any communication that you're about to do is going to fail. Not that it will actually fail, sometimes it will succeed too, but whenever it fails, that's where the following principles can really help. So the core insight that I gathered after dealing with disappointments for years, after managing relationships for years, the core insight is that you have to see every relationship on a spectrum, like on a scale from 0 to 10. You can rate every relationship that you have on this scale. And what do the ratings mean here? The ratings are essentially how happy does this relationship make you, even how satisfying it is or how important it is for you. So your partner, close people in your family, maybe your best friend, like they would be rated at somewhere between 9 or 10. Then you would have your other friends who you might rate like 7 or 8. Your close cousins could also be at 7, 8, sometimes 9 also. Then your work colleagues who are not really very good friends, they can be at like a 6 or 7. Your boss could be at 8 because they are important to you. It may not be that happy, but it's just important to you. Then your slightly problematic friends could be at 4 or 5, and your judgmental distant relatives could be at 3 or 4. You get the point. So what typically happens is when people disappoint you, no matter where they are, people get so hurt, they get so angry that they bring the rating down to 0. Internally, they just feel, okay, I'm done with this. I can't put up with that. And they just want to cut off the person. Like, I'm done talking to you. And that's where you make the biggest mistake. What you should do instead is you should adjust that person on the spectrum, on that rating scale. Just because someone makes a mistake or just because someone changes with time, you can't just bring them down to 0 suddenly. Even if they change too much, you shouldn't just cut those people off just because you're angry in the moment. Now I'll share my story. So this story is about a friend, like a really close friend. I've known this person since school. So as we grew up, we kind of grew apart, as it happens. But still in my top friends list, I always kept this guy. Let's call him Rohit. It's a fake name, but in my generation, everybody had a friend named Rohit. So let's just go with that. So we were already out of school. We were both on our own paths, but we were still in the same city. And with time, I started noticing that this person was kind of ignoring me. Not exactly ignoring me, just not prioritizing spending time with me. So for example, if I go to his house, like he would definitely hang out with me, but whenever I invited him, he would just not show up. Like he would always keep giving excuses. And it happened multiple times. I would be like, okay, last 5 times I've just come to your place. This time it's your turn, but then he just would not come. So I started getting a bit disappointed, but then it was my birthday. And after a really long time, I thought I would throw a big party. So growing up, our family was not like birthday party family. Like we rarely celebrated birthdays. Apparently we were too cool to do it. Later I realized we were the losers. Why miss out on opportunities to celebrate? So yeah, this time I thought I would throw a party and I of course invited him. And this time I was expecting that he didn't show up, like he didn't come to my place on regular days, but it's my birthday, of course he would come. And yes, he confirmed. On the day of my birthday, he tells me that he just cannot come. I'm like, what? Why? And he gives me some very silly reason. Something like some relative was showing up to his place, something which was completely avoidable. And here I'm thinking I'm throwing this huge ass birthday party after probably 5 years or so, and he's one of my closest friends, and even today he cannot prioritize me. I got really upset. I almost shouted at him on the phone and I told him, I don't care, you just have to come. And I was just hoping inside that he would still show up, he would find a way, but he didn't. That day felt like the final straw for me, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this guy. Like I'm done running after him, I'm done inviting him, I'm probably just not gonna talk to him ever again. But then later I started thinking about, what am I doing here? This person, yes, he didn't show up, but it's not like he attacked me or something. It's not like he did something negative towards me. It's not like he has any bad intentions towards me. He simply does not. The mistake that he has made is he has not prioritized me over something else in his life. So let's assume if a new friend showed up with the same exact traits or behaviors that Rohit is showing, where would I place him on the rating scale? And as I thought about it, I realized I think despite all of this, he would still easily be at 6 or 7. Like earlier, for me, he was at 9. But now I'm like, it cannot be more than 6 or 7. And why 6 or 7? Because we still sometimes talked on phone. And whenever I did hang out with him, like at his place or whenever, it was enjoyable. And sometimes we would just exchange favors. So it's not like the relationship was 0. But in my mind, I was so angry, I was ready to bring it to 0. I was completely ready to let go of that 6 or 7, whatever was left. So I stopped myself from making the mistake of cutting Rohit off. I just decided to lower my expectations from him. I just decided to internally take a few steps back. Ultimately, of course, I got over the incident, and actually after a few days, it stopped mattering. We met again after some time, we again laughed together, and after meeting him again, I realized I was just ready to throw this all away, and for what? So now let's take out some lessons from it. The mistake that people make is they let the disappointment, the mistake wash all over the person that is in front of you. It's like now the whole person is bad, you reject the whole person, and this is something that you have to stop yourself from doing. Always remember that whoever you deal with, they have some good parts, or let's say just matching parts with you, or bad parts, or let's just say mismatching parts with you. So your goal is to always hold on to the good parts, the matching parts. Don't concern yourself with the mismatches or the mistakes or the bad parts. What you have to do is you have to optimize for your own happiness in life. Remember the core rating scale? It was you are rating the person on the basis of how important or how satisfying or how happy the relationship is with them. So even if you can get overall level 5 or level 6 or level 8 happiness from someone, why throw it away? Of course, this doesn't mean that you keep treating everybody the same way even after they treat you worse. And this is again where the rating scale really helps. So your approach in life should be, I'm going to prioritize my time and energy on the basis of the rating that the person has. So let's say in your life you have 20 hours a week to spend with people. Within those 20 hours, you make sure of course that you prioritize the maximum time for people who are at 8, 9 or 10 for you. And then a little less for 6, 7 and then further less for 4 or 5 and then negligible or pretty much nothing for people at 0, 1 or 2, right? This is how you allocate your time, energy, emotions. So if my close friend is going from 9 to 6, I don't have to be angry at the person. I don't have to cut him off. I simply need to reduce my time and energy for that person. So let's say tomorrow I have 2 events to go to. One where there is a friend who's at 9 and another for a friend who's at 6. I'll prioritize the 9 one. And a great thing about this spectrum approach, this scale approach is that it makes it so much easier for you to focus on the good part, because otherwise you were just looking at it in binary. Good, bad, good friend, bad friend, close, not close, I like you, I don't like you. This binary doesn't give you a space to look at the good parts, because once you take a step back, it's just back to 0. But when you put a number on it, when you see it on a scale, you're like, okay, I mean, it's from 9 to 6, but there's still 6 here. It's easy to focus on what you do have. You can still be grateful for that 6. Another point is, instead of cutting people wholesale, like, okay, you're out of my life, try to cut off people in specific areas. So let's say you lent somebody some money, but they did not pay you back. Now, you don't have to say, okay, just because you didn't pay me back, okay, I'm done with you for life. Like, I'll never see your face again. Like, even if they're part of a group, you're just always awkward and negative with them. You don't have to do that. Once you realize somebody is not very honest with money, just don't lend money to them. Just don't involve yourself with them in any monetary way. Cut them off in the area where money is involved. That's it. And your life is good. If you go out on a trip with a friend and that friend turns out to be a complete mismatch, like you just want to chill, have a good time, and they're very hyper, they're anxious about every small thing, and they're just not letting you have fun, and you end up fighting also, there's a lot of friction. Don't cut off that friend. Just don't go out with that friend on a trip again. You can still go out and watch a movie with that friend because you can handle that friend for 2 hours. It's just that for that relationship, 2 days or 3 days was too much. Don't do that again. I'll tell you a very important point here. Like, it's gonna make your life very easy. No matter how much anybody disappoints you, okay? No matter how much anybody hurts you, ask yourself these 2 questions. First, does that person have intention to have a relationship with me? Second, will I be able to derive any happiness out of this relationship? If the answer to both of these questions is yes, don't cut off that person. Simply adjust them on the scale wherever you feel it's appropriate and allocate your time and energy accordingly. This is a much more rational way to deal with people because it's literally Bayesian reasoning. What is Bayesian reasoning? Where you have some priors, you have some background, and you observe some new phenomena, and you adjust your priors and you adjust your understanding based on that new incident. So in this case, our priors were what? The initial rating. The initial rating for the friend was 9. Then I observed an incident where the friend ignored me on my birthday and on many invitations before, and because of that, I changed my initial rating. I did not forget my initial rating, I updated it. That is, I brought it from 9 to 6. So basically in this Bayesian Bayesian reasoning, you don't forget the larger picture. You don't forget the background. You don't forget the past. You don't just let any new situation completely govern what you're gonna do. You always first fall back on your priors and then you let the new situation update your priors. This Bayesian reasoning will help you in every area of your life. Now that I've given you the basic concept, I'll give you some rapid fire truths. Disappointments between people are inevitable. They're always going to happen in every relationship that you can think of. People will disappoint you, you will disappoint others. Second, increase your tolerance for disappointments. Whatever disappointment you may have with someone, somebody else may have faced something similar, and let it go. So you can always learn to let go more and more. Increase your tolerance. Third, keep your expectations low in general. You are not the center of the universe. People are not supposed to understand or fulfill your expectations all the time. They are living their own lives. Of course, they are going to behave in manners which are different from your expectations. Just make peace with that. Fourth, it is a very common bias where everybody thinks, oh, I do so much for others, others don't do anything for me. You are not special when you think like that. And almost everybody is wrong also. It's simply that you just remember what you did and you just keep forgetting what others have done for you. So come out of this bias and start trying to remember more of things which others did for you. Fifth, when you get hurt by others, don't do any revenge-based justice. Don't think on the lines of, oh, now I'm done with that person, I'll show them how it's really done. Like, I'll give them the taste of their own medicine, maybe a much more bitter medicine. Whether you cut them off or you pull some revenge on them, if you're thinking that that's gonna teach them a lesson, it won't. People don't learn like that. Nobody really misses you. If you stay upset for too long, they'll simply just move on. People move on even after somebody dies. So don't expect that if you just stop talking to somebody, they'll someday turn around and come back to you. Oh, I miss you so much. Oh, I can't survive without you. Please come back. I made such a huge mistake. Life doesn't work that way. If you actually want to teach them a lesson, talk to them. Sixth, in general, value relationships. I mean, it's very difficult. It takes years and years to build relationships, and a few incidents, just a few mistakes can completely ruin them. So don't let that happen. You need good relationships in life to be happy, to be functional, to just have a good life. So value relationships, value people. Just be grateful that people exist who are willing to talk to you, who are willing to have a relationship with you. Seventh, just be chill in life. Don't keep testing your relationships. Just back off. Just enjoy them. If you keep calculating what they did for me, what they didn't, you'll be in a constant mess. All that calculation is not worth it. It's not going to take you anywhere. So be chill. Finally, I'll repeat the main point of the video. See people on a sliding scale, on a spectrum. The way they behave with you and how happy you are with them, adjust them on that scale. Don't let one incident move the scale too much. Unless the incident is too big, which it's usually not. In your day-to-day life, things that really make you angry, things that really disappoint you, even consistently, they are usually worth 1 or 2 points of downgradation. Downgradation, is that a word? Well, I said it. Don't bring it to zero. Don't do a complete cutoff. This is how I deal with my disappointments. You should too. If you like the video, please make sure you subscribe and tell me in the comments. Otherwise, I'll be very disappointed. Thank you for listening. Shridhar Life School is a team of psychologists who specialize in counseling. If you're going through very difficult times or you want to achieve higher well-being, we offer one-on-one counseling for individuals, couples, parents, and their children. To book sessions, go to our website shridharlifeschool.com.